Hi, this is Arup from the channel Language and Literature. Today's lesson is Prepositions of Transportation. There are three prepositions of transportation. They are in, on and by. Let's start the class with the preposition by. Whenever we go to use the preposition by, we should follow two rules. The first rule is that we use preposition by when we go to talk about the way or surface of transport. What do we mean by way or surface of transport? Road can be a way, rail can be a way, river can be a way, ocean can be a way, air can be a way. So whatever the way can be, you should use preposition by. So you can say by river, you can say by ocean, you can say by air, you can say by road, you can say by rail. I sometimes visit my hometown by road. One of my friends visits his hometown regularly by rail. Whenever I go abroad, I go by air. Companies in our country transport their goods abroad by ocean, and they transport their goods within the country by river. So you can see whenever you go to talk about the way or surface of transport, you should use preposition by. This is the first rule behind the uses of preposition. The second rule is that you can use preposition by whenever you go to utter the names of vehicles in general way. You can say by rickshaw, you can say by van, you can say by car, you can say by taxi, you can say by rail, you can say by train, you can say by helicopter, you can say by plane, you can say by horse, you can say by bicycle, by motorcycle, or by foot, by camel, by elephant. So whatever the vehicle can be, you can use preposition by if you utter their name in general way. So you can say you regularly go to your office by bus, you regularly go to your office by car. You can say sometimes you visit your hometown by rail, by train. You can say you sometimes visit your hometown by bus. Whenever you go abroad by airplane, or you love to roam here and there by helicopter. So you can use preposition by when you go to utter the names of vehicles in general way. You can say by bicycle, by motorcycle. So whatever the vehicle can be, you can use preposition by if you utter their names in general way. So these are the uses of preposition by. So we should follow two rules behind the uses of preposition by. The first rule is that when we go to talk about way or surface of transport, we use preposition by. And second rule is that we can use preposition by whenever you go to utter the names of vehicles in general way. And now we can talk about the preposition in and on. We use preposition in and on when we go to utter the names of vehicles in particular way. We use in for small vehicles and we use on for large vehicle. So let's talk about the preposition in. We use preposition in for small vehicles where you can only sit inside these vehicles. You cannot stand or walk inside this vehicle during their motion. So let's find out some such vehicles where we can only sit inside but we cannot stand and walk inside these vehicles. So whenever we go from one place to another place by car, we actually sit inside this vehicle and we cannot stand and walk inside this vehicle, and that is why we can use preposition in for such small vehicles. It is the same scenario for taxi. It is the same scenario for helicopter or small boat. Sometimes I enjoy the scenic beauty of our country sitting in boat. I love to roam here and there sitting in helicopter. So we use preposition in for such small vehicles where you can only sit inside them but you cannot stand or walk during their motion. So these are the uses of preposition in relation to transportation. Now we can talk about preposition on. So there are some vehicles which are really small but we don't use preposition in. They are small vehicles but we cannot sit inside them, rather we sit on them. We can talk about bicycle or motorcycle, horse, camel or elephant. We cannot sit inside these vehicles, but we sit on them, and that is why we use preposition on. And then we use preposition on for large vehicles. We can talk about ship, we can talk about plane, we can talk about train, we can talk about buses. So we use preposition on for such vehicles. We can talk about ship or ferry. So I can say I met one of my friends on trains. He waved to me on bus. Sorry, I could not receive your phone call because I was on plane. I spent an excellent moment on ship. So this is how we can use preposition in, on and by. So if I go to sum of the class, I can say we use preposition by following two rules. The first rule is that whenever we go to talk about the way or surface of transport, we use preposition by. And the second rule behind the uses of by is that whenever we go to utter the names of vehicles in general way, we use preposition by. And we use preposition in for small vehicles where we can only sit inside them, but we cannot stand or walk inside this vehicle. And finally, we use preposition on for such vehicles which are really large and where we can actually stand up and to walk inside them, and that is why we use preposition on. But there are of course some exceptions. We can use preposition on for some small vehicles, but we cannot sit inside these vehicles. For example, bicycle or motorcycle, camel, elephant or horses, we actually don't sit inside them, rather we sit on them. That is why we use preposition on. So hope that you have come to know the uses of prepositions in, on and by in relation to transportation very clearly. Thank you very much for watching this lecture. Thank you.